Aloha, everyone.
Aloha from Big Island, Hawaii.
So, this is Infinite Activation, and we are going to do our next live today about traveling. And we'll just take one moment to set up our Facebook Live as well, so they go parallel. So, just a moment.
One moment, please.
Okay, so here and here. So. Aloha, everyone.
Aloha. Sorry, we were a little late to the party, but technical stuff. We were getting everything set up in the back end, and it took a little longer. And part of that setup this morning was it took us a little longer to get set up ourselves. So we apologize. I know we were a couple minutes behind, but we are so grateful that you guys are here and excited to continue this journey with us. I want to tell you, I learned something yesterday. Most of you guys know that we work with the best of the best. Brendan Burchard is one of them. And I sat yesterday listening to probably about 3 different things that I needed to catch up on with Brendan. And one of the things, I picked a lot of stuff out of it. One of the things is, he said, you, meaning you, and he was talking to me yesterday, are why we do what we do. And he does what he does to help us so that we can learn better and share better. And that's a good downhill roll, because basically now we can say, we go to you and say, you are basically why we do what we do. And it is part of our growth and part of our contribution and part of our life mission to do these, to do programs and platforms and tools and all the things that can help make your life better. Okay. Our goal is happiness, abundance, loving life, living life. And today we're going to talk a little bit about the living life part of it, because of there's different types of experiences you can have locally and off in the wild blue yonder. But we have personally experienced these things. This is not stuff that we're reading out of a book, although I've read some really good stuff out of the book, which we will do, and then we'll report back to you. But this is real life. This is who Crystal and I are. We are sincere. We are genuine. We want the best for you. And we're going to take the things that we've learned over the past couple of decades, good and bad, or should I say good and challenges, and share with you those things so that you can use them at your disposal to learn, what mistakes we've done so that you can look out for them. Or if you're in a slump or in a rut or stuck or something, you can use the tools that we have in order to help get yourself out. So we are honored to be here. This is, we're kicking off 2019. Crystal and I are super excited because we have an agenda for this year, and it goes all the way to Christmas. And we're packing our stuff here in Hawaii, and we're going to put it in storage. We're going to ship one of our vehicles over to mainland, because we're doing mainland, we're doing Estonia, we're doing England, we're doing New York, we're doing Mexico. I may have left some things out there, but it's going to be, and you guys will see this itinerary. I've drafted it, and Crystal and I this weekend will start going over it, and we'll start posting it, because if you're in any of those areas, we would really love to see you. But, we talk about going global. We're already global. Okay. Thank goodness to this little piece of equipment here, we can reach the world. We communicate with people on the other side of the world on a daily basis. Crystal, originally from Estonia, has a following in Estonia, and she's built a great following over the last 12 years. And that's wonderful, and we will continue to serve Estonia and continue to serve them better. But Estonia's got about 1.2 million people. So there's a whole lot more people in the world that could use what we have, which was why we're expanding, so that we can expand our business, so that we can expand that love and wealth and everything else to everybody else. So this is going to be the year that our little nucleus is just going to radiate completely out and touch as many people as we can, or the beginning of it.
Yeah, thank you. What an introduction.
Yeah.
So aloha, everyone, whoever is coming live. I see someone is already there. So aloha, and please let us know who you are so we
Please.
kind of see and can say a personal
Say hi
aloha.
at least, and where you're at.
Yeah, and where you're from.
Yeah.
So one really cool thing which came with that was this last year, Kaia Kanepi, who is one of the best tennis players in Estonia, came to visit here. And so we had lots of fun showing Hawaii. I had a completely new program and so on. And then Kaia asked me, do you guys like have holidays? And it was so funny because in our world, basically, we...
Aloha, Tina Bell. Long time no talk to.
Yay, aloha.
Hi, and Troy.
Yay. And so what was really kind of interesting was that I told her that, we have kind of like phases, like when we are here, like right now, we have been kind of stationary when the moment when we leave, it's like almost a year, another year we have been here.
Yeah,
so
2 years.
2 years together. But we have been like little ants, working behind the scenes.
Good morning, Anne. From
morning.
Louisiana. And I believe Tina and Troy is still up in Alaska, unless they've moved and I haven't caught that. So Alaska and Louisiana.
Yay, aloha. Really cool. Yeah. So, and then I told her that, our holidays are actually kind of like working holidays. Like last year when we were in Estonia.
2.5 months.
Yeah. We were working like crazy. We had 13
and we had so much fun.
Yeah, 13-hour days. And then we were traveling at the same time. So this is really cool if you manage to put these things together, do what you love, share what you know, and then also get paid for it while you are exploring. So that's the best.
Yeah. Like the, that we were, okay, we were guest international teachers at one of the festivals in Estonia. So it was a week-long festival, 250 participants, and it was hard work. And matter of fact, there was some challenges because itineraries changed, our scheduled times changed. Our programs weren't fully developed. We had to put all the I's and dot all the I's and cross all the T's at the last moment. But I tell you what, the reward was phenomenal. We talk about this a lot, but Crystal and I, we're Aloha ambassadors from Hawaii, and we take Aloha wherever we go. And before our classes, we started with Aloha. During our classes, we incorporated Aloha. At the end of our classes, we closed with Aloha. And we would be walking around, and any one of the 250 people, if they'd been in our shop or we'd talk to them at any given time, it was Aloha. I mean, that's how they said hi. There was no other language other than Aloha when we were in the presence of people that we had already dealt with. Well, at the closing ceremonies, the main organizer, Pep, who is also who was a student of Crystal's back 12 plus years ago, who now organizes this particular event. He and his group closing the ceremonies, we were all standing there, beautiful day, holding hands, closing.
And Igor too.
And Igor, closing out the week-long event. And they took it upon themselves, without our knowledge, this wonderful closing part of this closing ceremony was to do our Aloha chant, our Aloha song. And we had no clue, but that's how much we left Aloha behind. So even though it was work, that feeds my soul. That feeds everything I need to keep me going around and doing the things that I do, because.
And Michael was so fired up. Like I'd never seen him so fired up. It was like so amazing. Like it was like 10 p.m. and he was like, turned on to wrestle rabbit.
Yeah. And so, maybe it's not the traditional time off or vacation, but it's the food and nourishment that my mind and body needs. Now, of course, the Monday afterwards, we crashed hard.
Slept in. And did nothing.
We still had appointments that day. We learned for the next year, we will not book an appointment the Monday after this week-long event because it just takes too much energy. So you got to have some recovery time. But it was wonderful.
So I also kind of explained to you guys why I oftentimes mix him and her, because in Estonian language, we don't have, you guys have him and her. We only have, you know, one word for both.
Yeah.
So it's always when I maybe don't think enough, or I'm just kind of automatic, then things get kind of messed up.
For those of you, you're probably much more familiar with Spanish and English, and you know, you get this little cross thing called Spanglish.
Yes.
Well, I think hers we're going to have to call Estanglish or something. Yeah. I know the language. I speak it well, so I have no problem with it. But if she actually says something that I know nobody else is going to get, or they have to think too hard on, I'll share it because I've probably learned it.
So before we get to the topic of the day, which was traveling, I want to also explain a little more what Aloha means for us, because Aloha has been a little bit, maybe even too much commercialized. So now when we have been living here, Aloha has been kind of rooted deeper into our souls and hearts and being. So we would like to share what Aloha means for us. So what does Aloha mean for you?
Aloha means love. Love those around you. Love your family, or what's called ohana here. Aloha is the presence in which you're in. And this morning, as we're sitting here, I'm looking out the window out our lanai. It's a beautiful day. The wind's making the leaves on the bamboo shoots tingle just a little bit.
Blue sky.
Blue sky. I got papayas that are ripening on a tree right in front of me. Aloha is the grand scheme of things in that positive light. When you share aloha, you're sharing love, you're sharing positiveness. You're not just saying hi and bye.
So original meaning is hello, goodbye, and I love you.
Right.
But it's actually, I think for both of us, it means unconditional love, service, presence, responsibility, being there for yourself and others, and always kind of not only give what you think others may need, but also give what you see that they really do need. And also sometimes you don't even need to ask, like you see that this will make a person's day, and you take that extra step or go that extra mile, and it makes a huge difference in your own life or in someone else's life. And that's a big benefit you can create out of that day or situation. Yeah,
and the funny thing, aloha, or being positive, about being a positive person, or you know, on the flip side, being a negative person, when you express the positiveness or the aloha, it becomes infectious. Okay, so one, you're helping fill somebody's container of happiness, love, joy, and everything else. And if their container is full and overflows, then it's easier for them to share the same thing. On the flip side, if you were to share negativeness, you're basically taking away from that container. You're actually being a Debbie Downer to somebody else, and you're taking what little they might have and you're doing away with it. So I've always practiced and preached, surround yourself by the people that you want to be like, because positive does breed positive. So if you want to be positive, or you want to be successful, or you want to be filled with aloha, which is a wonderful thing to do, filled with love and light and everything else, surround yourself by those people. And the people that are the Debbie Downers, either do away with them or figure out a different level of friendship with them, because that's not what you want in your life on a day-to-day basis. But we're getting way off topic for what we're discussing today. So
I want to just add to it, just take the aloha word into pieces. So aloha. So means like God, lo is cooperation, and ha is sharing the breath of life.
Yeah.
Like, the whole Hawaiian way was you just put your foreheads together, and then you breathe, and then you are exchanging.
You share the breath of life.
Yeah. And when the white people started to come to Hawaii, they were called haolis, which means actually people who don't breathe.
That's because they weren't celebrating in the same aloha.
Yeah, and they were saying, hello like this, instead of putting their foreheads together. And this is much more intimate. This is much more connective. So
yeah. So if you ever see on TV two business guys with their heads like that together that are in Hawaii, that's what they're doing. That's the original traditional Hawaiian greeting.
And the law in the middle of it, it's cooperation, which is kind of, kind of putting the whole word aloha together, and kind of almost feels like helps the a and ha, to cooperate with the lo in between. So in life as well, it's really important to learn to cooperate with yourself as a person, with everyone in your life, and your surrounding people and friends, family, your work buddies, colleagues. So cooperation is very, very essential. So Michael-Ditton joined.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, I'd like to see the timing from live to actual is different, and I like to kind of monitor and see what happens. A couple 3 weeks ago, we had some technical difficulties where our screen went completely blank, but funny enough, it wasn't seen on the other end because there's this little time lapse which allowed, I guess, the stitching to take place. So anyhow, I apologize. I turned on another device just to monitor.
But today's topic is about traveling. This is one of the very reasons why me and Michael, we met now 4 years ago. So traveling has lots of benefits, and traveling has been kind of the essence of our life or lives for a very long time, separately and also now together. And I think it will be a very big part of our lives also in the future. Like, even though we some years ago thought maybe less, but it seems like we are just getting started, because our life mission, the global mission especially, wants us to share our message, which means that if we travel, we get to meet more people and go to more places and influence more people. So we are ready. We are now ready and full, accumulated lots of aloha, which needs to be shared with the world. So here we come.
Yeah. And I chuckled because, Crystal and I had been living out of suitcases basically for 7 to 10 years. Crystal left Estonia and was traveling and spent a lot of time, all kinds of places all over, ended up down in Mexico. I sold everything in 2007, sailed mainly up and down the Pacific coast of Mexico, but I also traveled the United States and down to the southern part of North America, almost into South America. So, we were on the go. And after we met, we decided that we wanted to, we did have that little bit of a homesick feel, even though
like have a base, like where you can take your stuff out,
where we can set up a camp and maybe do things and maybe get, some animals, because we're animal lovers. I'm especially animal lover, and I've ruined her. Now she likes kitties too.
Yeah, I saw a dream about kittens last night.
Yeah. So we're thinking about this, and in determining it, we looked at all of our options and decided, because we've had the chance to travel, we know these areas. And we looked at all these options, and there's pros and cons in all the locations. But the one that didn't have major pros and cons was, of course, Hawaii. And Crystal had been here almost a dozen times beforehand. I've been on and off the islands for my entire life, but never on Big Island. So in 2016, at the conclusion of my book tour, which was up and down the coast of California there, we jumped on a plane and came over to Big Island for 2 months. And while we were here, we determined, you know what? That's it. That's where we're going to call home. I mean, we loved it anyways. We loved the energy here. We loved it's not, the climate. It's not super rat race. We can jump in the water anytime. We can swim with dolphins. We can climb the summit. We do whatever we want. So this is it. So we went back down to Mexico. We had a little place down there. We buttoned up down there, and 2 years ago, come May, we moved here thinking that this is where we were going to settle. Well, one of the two things happened. One, we dug in and we tried to make certain specific things happen here based on our vision when we came here. And
Pele has other plans.
Yeah, and the harder we worked at that, the more resistance we got. And at first, it was excruciatingly painful because we knew what we wanted. And I'm the type of guy that, if I want something, I will bulldoze anything that gets in my way to make it happen. And I kept running into wall after wall after wall. And it's not that we couldn't get around the wall. It just became quite obvious that Spirit had a different thing in mind. And, after bumping and beating my head and everything else, and we talked to another friend, and he said, "You're a sailor. Would you consistently point directly into a storm, get your butt kicked over and over and over again, or would you tack out of it into calmer waters, maybe another day to tack back again?" And I'm thinking, well, yeah, I don't like getting my butt kicked. So
you get tired.
We'd already been thinking about that process, but that was kind of a metaphor that led us to believe, okay, so we don't want our butt kicked. Let's enjoy the journey. Let's see where Spirit wants to take us. Let's go out there and live and live our life mission. And Hawaii is always going to have a place in our heart, and it's always going to have a place for us to do something. But before we came here, we were doing things here anyways, and they were fun and exciting and profitable. So we could go right back to that, and that's not going to hurt our feelings any. In the meantime, we have now tacked, and the minute we tacked, we started gaining momentum. And the harder we work, the more we're pulled off of this island we now call home. California in the month of May for training, and then Estonia for 3 months, and now we have opportunities over in England, possibly in New York. We've got some Spirit has been calling us up and down that West Coast between California and Washington, which we'll have to experience next year, just to see why we're being called there. Christmas in California with my family because we missed it this year.
Mexico before that.
Mexico before that because we need to finalize some paperwork that we started, years and years and years ago. That if we don't go back and finalize, then everything's been in waste. But if we do finalize, now we have permanent residency there and the ability to come and go and work there and do programs there as well without any extra trouble or headache or anything. So, it's one, traveling got us to know. Two, the home thing. Home is where your heart's at. You're going to make home wherever you go. But I personally have seen visions of where our next two homes are going to be. There might be a temporary residence here that we can come and go when we go, but I don't see us here at this point in time. And I'm not prepared to share with you where I think those two homes are, but it's going to take us to some places over the next 12 to 18 months doing some investigative work. And from there, of course, we can continue to grow. And from where I'm thinking, it'll also be easier to come and go as well, because even though it's beautiful and remote out here, it is remote.
Yeah.
So if you need to pop into, somewhere else for something, it takes a while.
Yeah. So there are so many different ways of traveling. So what Michael is sharing right now is basically, this is one way of traveling. You're actually exploring because you have something specific in mind, like you are thinking of a place to live, like a new place to live or visit on more like regular basis. And then you have those ways of kind of just going out for a holiday for like a week or two, or what
do you want to see, what do you want to do?
And then if you have worked too much, maybe you just want to go under a palm tree, just drink Mai Tais and don't do nothing.
And I've done that too.
So that's okay too. And then more and more what we see people are actually looking for, and this is also what we are actually it's all shaking when you're writing.
Sorry about that. Earthquake.
So more and more what we see people are looking for and doing, and which is actually starting to create also an industry of itself, is people are wanting to travel, kind of doing like spiritual retreats. They are in a transitional phase in their life. They want to find out who they actually are. Like they are in their 40s, sometimes even 30s. And, they start to wake up like, oh my God, why am I here? I'm not here just to work from 9 till 5, or die at my desk.
Yeah.
I want to be here to make a difference, to create meaning for myself and others. And then these kind of spiritual retreats are a key thing, especially if they're done in a very specific way and in a deep way, plus in a place which is very nourishing, like, for example, Hawaii is. And I have been leading this spiritual retreat since 2009 here, and it has changed my life and
Powerful.
everyone who has been coming here, because we are doing it very respectfully, and we are also connecting with ourselves, with the nature, with the Hawaiian way of doing things, especially now as I'm living here. So all the connections like outrigger canoeing, hula,
Yeah, if you want to
get
come
it
sit on the
firsthand.
beach and
Yeah.
drink Mai Tais, you do not want to come to our retreat, because
Yeah.
our retreat is an adventure
Action,
retreat.
action.
It's action-packed. You're
Yeah.
going to learn
And
about where
healthy.
you're at. Yeah, you're going to learn about where you're at, the culture. You're going to be constantly doing things. You're going to experience things that most tourists
will
never experience, because it's about where you're at, taking in your full surroundings and experiencing them.
Yeah. And in the future, we want to offer these also in Mexico and as well in Estonia, because many of you who maybe you know us, you are in US, you've never been to Europe even. And then you have a personal guide. I can show you Estonia the way no one else has shown you Estonia and take you to my secret places and power places. And Michael was so lucky last year. Within those 2.5 months, Michael saw more of Estonia than most people who even live there have seen, from different angles, meeting really amazing people, really extraordinary trip.
And we'll be setting up a summer experience for those that you want to travel to the other side of the world.
And
maybe next year, not this year.
And also, I have been living in Norway for many years. I even speak Norwegian still. So one of the things I would really like to do also in the coming summers is to go out to northern Norway. There is a very special place which completely changed my life. A little mountain where I have been bringing a couple of smaller groups earlier too, and doing it also very respectfully. So people have been having those journeys, kind of going inside. And leading these kind of retreats are not easy.
Aloha, Ali.
But it's still, very rewarding, because you see what it does to people and how it shifts their minds and ways of being. So this is the trend we see, people are kind of looking and wanting.
Experiencing life.
Yeah, kind
expanding.
of on a deeper level, liberating, facing their fears. The matter of fact, one of my very dear girlfriends came to Norway to this trip with me many, many years ago. And she was afraid to travel per se. And then she was there with me on that mountaintop, and all the shifts and changes. And sometime after that trip, she actually managed to get the courage to put together a several months journey to India, completely alone, going to an ashram, learning Tantra yoga, and then figuring it all out herself, traveling there alone, doing the whole thing, 2 months, and coming back and being a completely new person. So this is the way I see the world is going. But if we go back to, when I go back to kind of the first reasons why I started to travel, was my dad was a very kind of discovery loving person, exploration person. And we had a little car, so every summer, just on in Estonia, but we were driving to one harbor where he was a captain on a boat, so we were sailing every summer, but also kind of exploring Estonia, forests, different rivers and lakes and so on. So it was always lots of smaller adventures what we could do, but I was always enjoying it. And now just last week I actually figured out why I also so enjoyed it, because my personality type is actually, I'm an extrovert. So extroverts actually need to get impulses from the outside world, and traveling is one of the biggest food for extroverts, because you meet completely new people, you go to new places, you explore things about yourself which you didn't even know before were existing. And one of the biggest longest trips I did completely alone was actually going to South Africa, which, like, when I was telling people I'm going to South Africa, I'm going to Cape Town University as an exchange student, and to my grandmother, I didn't even say it. Like, I think I said it like 5 days before I was like completely sure that I'm going. And she was like, "Oh my God, are you crazy? You will be killed there, you know." And people oftentimes, they don't know. I mean, it is dangerous. And, you know, I had a couple of dangerous incidents myself too. But if you really know what you're doing and how to make it safe, it's possible. And I had a blast. It was one of the best times of my life. And I even went back several times, you know, really amazing place. Another time was also when I went to Australia, and then took also extra weeks for New Zealand. So I did Australia, Sydney, Byron Bay, and then surfing on the West Coast, and then going, traveling to Uluru and Alice Springs and Kings Canyon, doing that one. And then doing the whole South and North Island of New Zealand. So these were like amazing adventures. And I also love to travel alone, because then you learn so much more, because you are more eager to also communicate with others.
Oh, you have to.
Yeah. So, and sometimes it's a kind of survival thing. You need to
Aloha to you.
The information and stuff. So, I
want to talk a little bit about fear.
Yeah,
okay.
Can I just finish?
Okay.
Yeah, and then of course it's always also good to work together as a group and go and travel together as a couple or as a group, because you can share all of these experiences. So, and there's so many different ways to travel. So if you don't have enough money, you can go, like this week I was in Waimea Ocean Film Festival. I paid $95 for 4 days full of movies, and I saw like 4 or 5 movies per day from all over the world. I traveled to South Africa, to like, you know, all these different countries which were the movies, Australia, you know, movies were from, and I had a blast. It brought back the memories of my own trips, but also made me, like, gave me some ideas, like maybe about new places or new ways of what I would like to explore in the future.
You.
Yeah,
it's nourishment.
And I came back and I feel like, you know, I traveled the world with 4 days, and it
so
was
the
just
travel
there.
That she did was literally less than an hour away.
Yeah.
And it took her around the world. So you don't have to jump on a plane and go to the other side of the world. You can, it's wonderful, but just as long as you get out and you're experiencing life, that can be a travel as well.
And it also, I did it also last year, because I felt how much it was feeding me, my inspiration and ideas also for you guys, like, so I can give back and be inspired and be fully turned on, because I want to be that person for others, so that you look at me as like, how is Crystal so turned on all the time?
Yeah. So and it's not always me, but
so
and the things that we do feed us and nourish us.
Yeah, we're very conscious what we choose and how.
Yeah, but we basically go to school every single day so that we can learn either what we're doing better or something new, so that we can share with you.
Like, even being there, I did basically daily Facebook lives on my channel. So even most times, like, no one was there, but it was for my own practice. I wanted to share the experiences from the movies. So if you go to my channel, you will see those summaries. And then I went through it every day to see, like, what I could have done better. So I was doing it for me and I was doing it for you guys. So it's a win-win for both sides. So
yeah. So I'm going to go back to that fear real quick. fear is something that we address in life in all different aspects. One of it is the fear of traveling, getting away from the comfort of home, not knowing where you want to go, not knowing the people that you're going to see, the fear of traveling nowadays because it's crazy. Don't allow fear to stop you from living life.
Because when it's your time to go, you will go whatever,
yeah, no matter
you
what.
are.
Okay.
Yeah.
And if you think about it, you're not alone out there. You know, a good percentage of the people that are going either to the same place or different places are experiencing the same thing. So it's not uncommon to be, you know, afraid to go through and stand in that security line and feel like you're being, you know, just tested on so many different levels to get from point A to point B, but it's definitely worth it. It's part of the journey. It can be a challenge, but it's one that will enrich you, because by the time you get to the end, you're going to go, oh my God, this was so worth the trouble to get here. That fear can be of new places. The fear,
new people.
Yeah. Also, the fear can be
new cultures.
You're going to new people, new cultures, and you're also going to hear a lot of people go, "Oh my God, you go to Mexico? And,
you're crazy."
You better darn well I do. Some of the nicest family type people I've met in my life, who will give you the shirt off their back, who don't have another shirt to put on after they give it. They're there. Now, is there trouble? Yes, there are pockets of the areas. Okay.
And like even my experience in Mexico, I lived and worked with several multimillionaires, and it was night and day. And then I was staying with my friends who didn't even, you know, have enough money to buy food, and they were sharing their roof, their food, their everything. Yeah. And it's like, it's mind blowing how much kindness and love there is.
In Mexico, they have Aloha and they have Ohana. Yeah. And if you're in their life, you are Ohana. You're their friend and family member, and they're going to do anything for you. Yes, there's pockets of areas that you definitely want to stay away from, and there's pockets of areas you don't want to go out at night. Most of those aren't going to be right in the areas that most people would experience as tourists anyways. But it's good to know before you go down there, okay, there is issues in this area. Maybe it's not a good idea to go into that area. Or there's issues, they say don't go here after dark. Okay, well, you know what? There's parts of Los Angeles I will not go after dark, okay? And that's in our own country.
And
so
even in Tallinn, you know.
Yeah, so you use common sense when it comes to these warnings that you get. Don't let them be fear. Go, oh my God, you know, they're having drug wars and all this. Yes, they are, but they're mainly fighting amongst themselves.
And also, if you kind of feel that scared, you can always, like, you know, ask people who have been there, or if you have a friend who is actually staying there at the moment, so you will kind of feel more confident. Like, Mexico was not on my radar at all. Like, it didn't really, like, there are certain maybe cultures which are like kind of more appealing for me than others, and it wasn't really like inviting until I met an Estonian lady who bought a sailing boat in La Cruz, you know, and was inviting me, hey, come and, you know, help me with my boat, and then come and, you know, experience how Mexico is. And I remember that first moment when I sat into that bus from the airport, I was looking out, I was like, where the heck did I come to? It looks like South Africa, like, you know, shacks and stuff, and like all these, like, you know, power lines all kind of like, you know, running all over each other and so on. And then it took me several years to actually learn to love Mexico and the craziness of it. And now I think that all, especially Estonians, should be like kind of sent almost forcefully to Mexico, because it would be doing so much good for their head, you know, getting out of their head and from that like kind of linear kind of going after things and so on. And we see the same thing like when people come to Hawaii and have too much of that kind of happening. They are in the traffic, they get really impatient, or, you know, whatever other ways they like, then you're like, oh, this person is from the mainland, or like, you know, this is one of the things you learn in places like this. You learn actually
you adapt to their lifestyle,
and how to be slow and go slow. So
siesta time there, you know, Hawaii time here. So and it's good and it's healthy, and you can still be productive. So,
yeah. So, and one, I remember one interesting, it actually has happened several times. I've been sitting in an airplane next to someone who had fear of flights. And then I was telling that person that, not kind of as a person full of myself, but kind of, I feel that I have a really kind of important mission to do and share with people. And I feel that I always ask extra protection for those flights which I'm taking. And then usually everything goes fine. And if there is any issues, it will be found beforehand. So nothing bad will happen. This flight will get to the destination for sure. And then just saying that, like being there next to them, they just like calm down. Yeah, they're like, oh my God, like someone is so confident. And then they ask like, how much have you been flying? It's like since like 1999, and some years now I've been traveling to 30 countries. So some years also similar places several times. So a lot.
Experience of life, whether it's right down the street or on the other side of the world, get out and travel. One of the books that I highly, highly recommend, it's, I don't remember the exact title, but it's 1,001 Things to Do Before You Die. And it has some phenomenal places in there that grab a few, put them on your bucket list, because I guarantee you're going to find a few in there that should be on your bucket list.
And also even in the area where you are living, like even here on this island, big island, I've been coming here like, so many times beforehand, exploring it so much, but there is still so much more to see. So before going out there, explore what's under your nose. Like,
well, you can do it. You don't have to do it before. You can do it at whatever pace you need to. If you don't have the time and you need to do something, do it close to home. If you have the time and you want to stretch out, stretch out. It doesn't have to be in any specific order.
Yeah. And like we have now decided that Sundays will be our fun days unless we choose otherwise. So we have done several really fun adventures too. And then that one of the last ones we did, longer ones, was Pololu Valley hike. So which we also have a video. I can post it underneath here later, so you can see how our adventures look like. And Pololu Valley hike is now also part of our program here. So kind of different and something interesting.
Yeah. So I think we're going to go ahead and wrap on the travel thing. If you have any questions, comments, or anything, we definitely want to hear from you. Below this post, there's going to be an opportunity to comment. You know what? If nothing else, share one destination that you would love to travel to. And then I would challenge you to figure out a way you can do it, the steps you need to do, and a timeline in which you want to do it. Don't just say, oh, I'll never do it. It's my favorite destination. Put a destination out there. Of course, that's realistic. Not all of us are going to get a chance to go to the moon. Okay. But put a destination out there that is realistic in your lifetime, and figure out how you're going to do it, whether it's saving money, whether it's after you get the kids off to college, whatever. Put those steps in motion and give yourself a specific deadline. And just so that you know, the deadlines are great, but they're not formed in concrete cement. So when I got ready to take off and go sail around the world, my goal was to leave in 2005. So many things happened in prior to that, 2004, 2005, that there was no way possible to leave in 2005. So what I did is I readjusted everything I needed to. And at the time I would put the adjustment together, I said, okay, I can accomplish that by 2007. So I ended up sailing off in 2007 instead of 2005. So it's okay to adjust.
Just before we wrap up, I would also like to kind of get a little more essence. So if you look back into your traveling, what has been kind of maybe 1 or 3 things which have been really beneficial for you all over these years when you have been traveling? So you say first and then I'll add.
Okay, a couple of things that mean the world to me is the locations. I can't tell you how many hundreds, if not thousands, of places I've visited that I go, oh my God, this is beautiful. I could call this home. Okay, that also creates a little problem, because now you want to have 1,000 homes all over the world. more importantly, some of the people that you meet along the way. I have met some of the greatest, most dearest people on earth in these locations. And when I say that, I can tell you that, for example, down in down by Bar de Navidad. Bar de Navidad has this lagoon that you can go and anchor in. And you have to either take your dinghy or call for a panga to come out and get you, because there's no docks or anything else. It's just a big lagoon. Well, there's activity on both sides of the lagoon. So you can either go to one side or the other side. The other side has most of the activities, but there's a couple of great restaurants, and there was actually a little clinic up on the hill that we did some work with to help them get donations for medicines and stuff for the people of the community, which is another thing I love to do, is help the communities. But there's one restaurant there, and when I realized I needed to do something, which was to do Skype calls to around the world to find some things to do in the summers when we weren't going to be on the sailboat, I used their facility. So we'd go and log into their Wi-Fi password there, and I talked to people around the world in order to do this. Well, through that process, I became super good friends with the owners of the family that own that restaurant. And to this day, we still communicate via Facebook, and it's been years since I've been to the restaurant now.
You kind of get like an extended family.
It's an extended family, and
like,
they're super dear.
Yeah, like in Mexico, like now together we have like, I think one day I was counting like around like 15, 20 people who are very close friends.
Yeah, we actually have a friend of ours who was our next door neighbor in Mexico, who is doing some logo work for us for our new brand. And we communicate with him from time to time. So we have new family around the world. So, so it's the places that you see that is, they say a picture's worth 1,000 words. Well, I tell you what, if you actually go there and experience it, it's not even, there aren't words to express some of the places I've seen. And then the people, the good-hearted, kind, hardworking people that you're going to meet that will open their doors, give you the shirt, offer you a place to stay if you need it. I mean, it's just wonderful. So, and then the knowledge. The last thing, if I'm going to say anything, is the knowledge that I gain about those people, those places, their culture, how they live. That is, So.
Yeah. And thank you. And for me, one of the first things which I've been thinking for years is every Estonian who I meet, like during my travels, who have traveled a lot, they are not like normal Estonians anymore, because they have expanded, they have liberated, they have explored themselves and the world in a different way. And it doesn't matter if you're Estonian, Mexican, whoever does that is going to open you up and open your mind in so many ways. And one of the things I have learned during my travels is that because of so many traveling experiences, I'm much more open-minded, of course, but also I have much more tolerance. Tolerance in the good meaning of the word. I understand when people are in hardships, and I see like if there is anything I could do or if they would need my help, I would be there for them. Like yesterday, I saw a movie about humpback whales and dolphins, and humpback whales basically came to rescue a baby whale and a mom and one of the male escort whales, because the orcas were attacking the little baby whale and they were not enough in numbers. So the big male escort male was like calling for all these other whales, and they were just coming, and they actually saved this little baby whale, which is very crucial if you want pieces to go on. And then that made me think like, do I have in my friends circle or people I have met during my travels, those kind of whale friends who I can call in the moment of need and ask for their help? And I truly think that I have those kind of friends. So this is also one other thing, is like, if you do good things for people, then people want to start to, give it back to you. So it goes like both ways. Another thing what happened to me while I started to travel is that I actually was a pretty like scared girl. I actually didn't do any big trips. Like my very first foreign trip was actually to Austria when I won a trip through a TV show, Travel with You. I was actually, it was like a dating game, and then I won a man and a trip. So, so it was kind of funny. Nothing came out of that relationship, but the trip was really cool. I got to see the mountains first time and so on. But it really actually built a relationship with myself and kind of challenging myself, and that courage, like every time going to a new place, new culture, meeting new people. First I was scared of it, and more I did it. I'm actually now almost like dependent on it. Like it's just feeds me. It's like my food. It's so like delicious, it's like kind of indulging myself doing that. So wherever I can do that, that's like really feeding me in so many ways. And also traveling for me, even though I think at one point in time I did so much of it, especially the first years when I was in Mexico. So it was so much was going on, and I was like also like moving from one place to another, so that it felt like I need a place to just kind of calm down. So I kind of overdid it a little bit. So that's like also one thing I learned. I want to balance it so that I will travel, and so that it will be always balanced. So in every possible way. So
yeah.
Thank you so much. These were the little
Aili? A-I-L-I?
Yeah.
Okay. Estonia is waiting for you to come back again and again. Well, I thank you very much. We can't wait. We will be there at the last part of May. We'll give you the itinerary real soon, and we'll be there until almost the middle of August. So we got lots of exciting stuff going on in Estonia. And
Aili actually invited us last year to visit as well, and I'm so sorry we didn't manage to do it. But Aili was my desk mate from high school.
All right. Aili, we will somehow
put it in the schedule.
It's going to be in the schedule. We will visit.
And what's really cool, Aili was the courageous one during the high school. I was the gray mouse, and I was always admiring Aili. It's like, oh my God, she's so brave. She's doing so many things. And maybe it was infectious. Maybe it kind of, expressed itself afterwards. So thank you, Aili.
Aili, I want to talk to you about her as a child. I need more stories. I don't understand what grandma says. So, okay. We're going to wrap this. But the way we're going to wrap it is we're going to wrap it by introducing you or telling you about an introduction to Mac. Mac is a friend of ours. So next weekend, we're going to have a webinar, and we're going to introduce you to Mac. And we're going to also share with you how to live life on your terms. Now, who's Mac? Okay. Well, let me tell you who Mac is.
It's not the computer.
It's not a computer. No, it's actually MAK, and it's Monthly Abundance Keys. Okay. So we are launching a new program, which will be a monthly program. And every month you're going to get tools, a list of actions you can take once you identify the things that are going to help you with that abundance. We're going to talk about dealing with blockages. We're going to talk to you all about abundance, all the different types of abundance, or some of them, because there's lots of them.
Holistic abundance.
Holistic abundance. We're going to talk about dealing with blockages.
Relationship, sexuality, health, life mission, if you still don't know why you're here. And then abundance from so many aspects. Yeah,
and the things that we provide to you will help you. It'll help you provide results, whether it's to deal with and address and get through a blockage, or whether
hands-on.
Yeah. So, and of course, this is going to be a year-long program, so it's going to be every month, and it will most likely continue after that. But we've got a year's worth of topics and. Yeah, well, we will have a year's worth of topics and tools and training so that you can participate every month. And we're going to introduce this program next week. So there is going to be a live webinar doing this introduction.
Free webinar.
It's a free webinar. You will need to sign up for it because we're going to have to send you a link which will get you access to where that webinar is.
And we post a link also underneath this video as well. You can see also the little slide we did where the link is, but we'll put it underneath here too.
Yeah, so take a look for that at the end of this. And of course, throughout the week, we're going to be doing more promotional. We would love to have as many people as we can. We'd like to break the webinar room because right now I think we're allowed to have 100 participants. We didn't go with the super huge one because we're just getting off. I would be so excited if we broke it because we had more than 100 people on there. But I want you to know we want you. Okay, come on in, find out who Mac is. We'll share a little bit about it and how you can live life on your terms with the tools and platforms and training and stories and everything that we're going to be sharing over this next 12 months.
Yeah, and we we will also share some tips and tools about how to make this 2019 the year where you can really say this year was working on my terms. We don't even limit it just the best year because this is just a little bit, but just a year living on your terms. And one of the things you really get extra with this one is that you have 2 guides, like you have a divine feminine and divine masculine guiding you in total balance, in total consciousness. I wish I would have had someone like we are, to guide me like 10 years ago or so. Like, where would I have been like already today?
And the cool thing isn't, it's not just a 1 + 1 = 2, but basically when you put 2 forces together that have so much knowledge, love, desire to help in that, it's so much greater than that. It's not 1 + 1 = 2. It's 1 + 1 = oh my God. So,
and then in addition to all these things we will put together and share as knowledge, you will also get a lot of good energy and inspiration each time. And just a little reminder, if you are in Estonia right now, this week actually a new story came out about us, which we actually we gave that interview in June, I think, last year.
July,
but it just got trapped in the process of always postponed. So who knows, like divine timing. It was published in Naistelet. So I'll put the link also underneath here so you can see. It still should be on sale. And this is our story, how we met each other, and kind of giving hope for those who maybe still don't have their partner in life and would like to find their partner.
So Ali asked, I don't know if it's a statement or a question. It says, Michael, the best memory from the trip to Estonia. And TU also said Sedona, which is also a very beautiful place. My mother used to live there, so I've been through quite a bit. And yes, Ali, we will meet. If you're asking what my best memory was,
it's Aili.
Aili, I apologize, Aili. We have similar spellings down here, and the Hawaiian language and Estonian, and then throw some Spanish in, and I get all messed up. So my best memory was meeting and getting to know the family.
My family?
Yes. I met for the first time Crystal's son. I met for the first time her sister and the 2 nieces. I met for the first time her grandmother. And I met all of her friends that she has grown up with. Not all of her friends, but a bunch of friends that she's grown up with. And it was an honor to meet everybody. And yeah, one of the things I learned was from her niece. Her niece is 4 or 5 years old, sitting in the 5 years old, sitting in the car seat in the back. And as we're driving down the road, she would point to something and call out a name, as simple as Maxima, which just so happens to be one of the grocery stores there, to Busi Beatos. And I'm looking around for
Say it again.
Busi Beatos. I'm looking around going, okay, it's not obvious at this point because Maxima was, Busi-Biatos was not. So I looked at Crystal and I said, what did she say? And she said, bus stop. And I looked in the rearview mirror. By this time, it's behind us. And lo and behold, there was a bus stop. So one of my favorite words for the remainder of Estonia, which Crystal played on quite a bit, and to this day we talk about, is Busi-Biatos. So,
do you remember any other words?
Not right at the moment. Yes, I do, but we're not going to go there right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
You remember the queen thing?
I'm not prepared to think about that. Yeah.
No.
Don't put me on the spot.
Okay. Yeah, but you remember my beer.
Karu, yeah. There's a lot I remember. Yeah.
Yeah, Minukaru.
Minukaru.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Michael is Minukaru.
Yeah, and Aita and Busi-Biatos, and there's a whole bunch of words, but yeah.
You need to refresh course before we go, so you
Absolutely.
can impress this time.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'll do that.
So how was meeting my son?
Oh, meeting your son was phenomenal. He's a wonderful, wonderful young man. Good head on his shoulders, good intentions, so he'll do well.
Yeah.
Chip off the block.
Yeah, you could share about your, because my son is studying logistics at the moment, and he's really into transporting things and so on. So Michael was a truck driver for a very long time, so they could share their experiences together. So.
Yeah. It was nice to, especially when you're breaking the ice, it was nice to be able to talk about something in common.
Passion.
Yeah, and that he's passionate about. So it was really good.
So next Saturday, we will be here.
Live launch.
And this will be 8 a.m. Hawaiian Standard Time, 8 p.m. Estonian time. And we'll do the list and also a special email for you guys so that you know what time zone we'll put the main ones up. And on the slide, I already had those up there too. I put the main places where I already know that we have some friends. If you don't know where you are or what your time will be, use the time converter. Google has that one. And then be here maybe 5 minutes early so we can figure out all the tech stuff kind of going well. And then we'll start, and it will be a new beginning for us and for you as well with us.
We're so excited, and we're so grateful that you took the time to be here with us today. And for everybody that's going to watch us afterwards, thank you for being in our lives. We are here truly for you. We're excited to learn and share, and hopefully everything we share will inspire you to be the better person you want to be, do the things that you want to do, live life on your own terms, not only dream, but do what you need to accomplish those dreams. We're going to set the world on fire.
Yeah.
Not literally.
Yeah. And after the next Saturday, we are testing this month also a different time for our Facebook Lives. And we see that this time is probably a little better time. So maybe the next one after next Saturday will be the 19th, but then we'll start maybe 9 o'clock our time. So it should be a little better time for everyone. So we'll announce it. Yeah, we'll announce that one. So we'll test different times and to see what works best for everyone. So, but thank you so much for being here. And if you have not signed up for our page and our information yet, we are actually about to launch also our new page, Infinite Activation. We'll put a link down below also where you can get sign up for some of our freebies, and then you can get into our email list because we'll do a next information email in the next week as well. So you will be included. And if you have experienced, working with us or meeting us or even being on this live and it was really giving you a value, please don't be shy to give us a review. Many people have experienced working with us, but we have very few reviews, and those reviews can also help with our Facebook work.
And until we get tens of thousands of reviews, we're going to beg.
Yeah. So thank you so much for being here today, giving and sharing your time. And
we do appreciate it.
Yeah, we'll send lots of aloha and everything you need in your life from here, the Big Island.
Yeah.
Mahalo.
So, mahalo.
And aita.
Aita.
Yay.